This is the Sports Psychology Podcast with Michael Seeley for Sunday, July 10th. Aglo, Switzerland to Châtel, France. Stage 9 of the Tour de France, 186 kilometers in the beautiful Swiss Alps near Lake Geneva. 3 major climbs today. Definitely enough to break things up. The climbers were shining today, and the descenders were shining today. I want to focus on the descenders' mentality. Yes, you can win a bicycle race, a road race on the descent. Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. First, let's just recap the race. There was an early breakaway of about 20 riders, including today's winner, Bob Jungels of the AG2R team. They had about 3 minutes at their biggest gap from the main group, which included the leaders. Now, because there was really no one who was going to threaten Pogačar and the other leaders on the GC, they kept them in sight at about 3 minutes, safe distance, but they weren't too worried about that breakaway. So again, breakaway psychology, if you can assess a breakaway really, really quickly, it'll let you know if it's worth putting effort into that breakaway investing. Is there anyone threatening the overall GC leader? Well, not really. Okay, great. Invest in that breakaway, and that's what Bob Jungels did. He stayed in that breakaway, and I'll tell you about how he won today's stage. With about 65 kilometers to go, you saw Bob Jungels go for it out of that initial breakaway of 20 up the second major climb of the day. He's a very good climber, and he went with Simon Geschke of Germany, also a very good climber. They came to the top of that second climb together, and then they had a very long descent of about 20 kilometers into the next town. Now that is a long descent. That's 12 miles. There's a wonderful descent in California, Mount Diablo. I've done it many times. It's about the same distance. And you can really fly down that descent, actually do much better descending than a big group of riders. You can go it alone because you can slice up the corners surgically through the apex much quicker alone than if you have a group of riders. And Bob Jungels knew that, and he's also a very good technical descender. He went it alone, dropped Simon Geschke, and picked up a whole bunch of time going down this descent. So let me explain why descending with a small group or even alone is much better in a road race, especially if there's a lot of corners. Now, if you have, say, maybe a long straightaway of a couple of kilometers, certainly a big group of riders is going to be faster. They can echelon, they can rotate really quickly, but that's never really the case in mountain descents. You never have a long straight descent. There's always plenty of turns. So it's much better to descend alone if you're really, really good, or with a very small group of maybe like a maximum of 5. Anything more than that's not going to be very efficient because you get this thing called the accordion effect or the rubber band effect, meaning that if you're in a big group of riders descending, the guys at the front are more skillful, they're less timid, they're going to be really going fast through the corners, and the guys behind, a little more timid, they're going to be putting their brakes on. You get this thing called like the accordion effect, so the group gets disorganized, people are trying to catch up in the back, not very efficient. So Bob Jungels, today's winner, knew this, and he just rocketed down this 20-kilometer descent, gained a whole bunch of time, and he really only had a couple of serious chasers, the main one being Thibaut Pinot. He got as close to about 20 seconds to Bob Jungels, but never really got it any closer than that. So the final descent is about 5 kilometers. This is where Bob Jungels picks up even more time on Thibaut Pinot. By the time we get to the final climb with 4 kilometers to go, Bob Jungels looks like he has it, and he is able to come across that finish line victorious. So Bob Jungels today of Luxembourg of the AG2R Citroën racing team takes it today, and he does it on the descents. Well, the climb and the descent, but he's a really good descender. So one skill that cyclists, especially road racers, do not practice enough is descending. It is really a skill. It's an art. You need to practice it. You need to have good equipment. You need to trust your bike. You need to practice cutting apexes of corners. You need to go to some roads that challenge you. I would suggest going with someone who's better than you in descending and following their lead. You can learn a lot from them that way. So bicycle races can be lost on the descent. Descending is a skill. It's a mentality. It's not just fearlessness. It's about technique, confidence, and experience. Lots and lots of practice builds the confidence so that you can take these corners really, really fast, not be hesitant, not be fearful. So it's not the mindset of I'm going to go for it and I don't care what happens. It's not like that at all. It's really about experience, confidence, skill, a lot of practice, and you go faster and faster that way. So cheers to Bob Jungels of Luxembourg. Fantastic skills racing today.